production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
PNC, committed to Central Ohio, for the achiever in you. From these contributing sponsors and viewers like you, thank you.
This time on Broad and High. A Clintonville artist carves personality into her handcrafted ceramic dolls. Explore the work of Mickaleen Thomas at the Wexner Center.
It's a way of celebrating who we are.
And we'll bring you the jazz-inspired sounds of local hip-hop band Mr. Anderson.
I remember him, but he don't remember me.
This and more right now on Broad and High.
I remember him, but he don't, Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Broad and High. I'm your host, Kate Quickle. So I had a favorite Barbie doll when I was little. She wore this cute pleated tennis skirt and she had brown hair just like me, which is probably why I liked her so much. Randy Channel of Clintonville also grew up loving Barbie dolls, but she would actually wipe off their faces with nail polish remover and repaint them back on. Now, she creates her own line of custom dolls. But these are not children's playthings. They're collectible works of art that she meticulously sculpts, carves, paints, and sews before finally bringing them to life.
I think that there's something really magical about dolls. There's a mystery and there's a potential to tell a story. I grew up loving dolls. It was my favorite thing to do was to dress dolls. I didn't really even act out stories so much with them as got really involved in like building a house or making clothes or wiping their face off with nail polish remover and trying to paint their face back on. There are so many differences between Barbie and this type of doll. They're made from a different material. They're made from porcelain. It's a material that requires a lot of patience to work with. Ball jointed dolls go back for hundreds and hundreds of years, but they're not intended for children, which is, I think, maybe another reason people kind of have a hard time like understanding why would you make a doll that's not for a kid? That love of a doll never leaves a person. And I'm not really exactly sure what that is. Even though I spend so much time making dolls, I'm constantly asking myself this question. What is it that is so special about a doll? And I think the idea of replicating the human form on a small scale is so compelling for people. And for me, it's not so much the owning the thing, because I actually have very few dolls. It's the making of the thing and then spending so much time with it that I really feel like I've imbued it with a sort of spirit.
This is a thigh and this is a little piece of suede. So you're just gonna like put this inside the joint so that inside the socket, so that when you put the joint in place, you have a cushion that protects the porcelain and helps the doll hold a pose better.
The whole process of making a porcelain ball jointed doll takes an incredible amount of patience. I do try to give them a character, a personality.
I really like the bottom of her feet the best.
I feel also like my work kind of straddles the line between what might be considered a craft and what might be considered fine art. because I also love to sew, and I also love to screen print, and I also love to make a hairstyle happen. I like to make shoes. She wears a platform shoe, not a high heel shoe. Typically, Barbie is on her tiptoes and she wears high heels. However, I do avoid a tiptoe foot. I like a flatter foot. I like the idea that this doll can stand on her own. Sometimes I think the reason I make dolls is because it's an excuse for me to put a lot of time into paying close attention to a detail. So the box takes quite some time to make, and a thing that is really important, I think, in the doll collecting community is the box. The box is part of a ritual called a box opening. That's a thing that I noticed when I started making dolls, and I was like, well, I can't just shove this doll in a shoebox, and I try to make a box that is going to make a doll collector very happy to open and document the process. I think about them as a part of myself that comes out and then is made tangible through porcelain, alpaca hair, lamb locks, suede, steel springs, and so many other materials.
You can see more of Randy's dolls by following her on Instagram under her brand name, Tiny Shirt. Next up, we're popping into the Wexner Center to check out the work of New York-based artist Mickalene Thomas. She's perhaps best known for her dazzling portraits of African American women that are encrusted with rhinestones. The artist explores the representation and underrepresentation of women of color in art, and in this exhibit, she honors those who have played a vital role in shaping her life and work.
Mickalene Thomas, she was born in 1971 in New Jersey. She's based in Brooklyn. A lot of her work deals with the gaze, also with thinking about her gaze as a queer black woman and what that can bring to a conversation about art history, what's been absent, and how she can kind of claim spaces for, particularly in this show, women of color, black women who, when she was looking at art history, she wasn't seeing women that looked like her, women who looked like the people who were heroes and idols and mentors to her in her life, her mother, her family, her friends. So it's really about inclusion and empowerment.
The gaze is that art historical practice primarily of men looking at their female muses. And there's a kind of ownership that takes place, mostly that we're aware of through this sort of art historical lens. Mickalene has sought, I think very consciously from the beginning, to turn that concept of the gaze on its head, so that basically the gaze doesn't denote ownership, it denotes collaboration.
It's the first time that my work has been given this platform to present the sitters forward, to put them forward, to put them in front, to sort of really celebrate them in a way where you can see the various bodies of work that has come out of each sitter and how my relationship is with them and how I'm investigating and looking through different tools and materials. And I think a lot of times, you know, there's this idea or lack of understanding that these are real women, right? And I want people to feel that sense that it's not just me choosing and plucking a woman from some obscure place and thinking about them, that these are relationships that are built.
So the first gallery is devoted to her mother, Sandra Bush, which was her first muse in grad school at Yale. She was asked by a professor, a photography professor, to make a series of work about someone she had a difficult relationship with. And she and her mom had a very fraught, estranged relationship. And so there was a lot of kind of healing and rekindling the relationship through that series and as time went on. Her mom at one point was an aspiring model, so was very confident, beautiful, statuesque, and subsequently informed, I think, Mickaleen's interactions with her sitters. The next gallery is devoted to Mickaleen herself, and she talks about how thinking about self-portraiture and using herself as a subject was really vital to think about how she was depicting others, so to kind of put herself in that position was really critical to think about thoughtfully about what it means to be a subject.
All of those photographs came from sort of this search of who I was and identity and breaking down stereotypes of Black women in mass media. It's about visual play, and it's about visual manipulation and desire, right? And women are beautiful, and I'm attracted to women, you know? It could be my libido lust, I don't know. But yes, sexuality, desire, all of those things that I put in my painting is very important to me, right? Because it's how I see the women in my life. It's how I want the world to see them, you know? And it's putting them on the same platform of sort of the ideology of beauty. Also validating and seeing and allowing people to see us so we can be seen, so we can represent ourselves and say we're here and we're present. And so often there's so many other images to look at us as the other in a negative light, right? So for me, it's a way of celebrating who we are. I think that is important as an artist to, whether it's personal, conceptual, whatever your genre or theory you're working from, whatever that basis is to find how it impacts the world. For me, it's all about trying to inspire and make young girls, when they walk into spaces like these, that they feel a sense of themselves and that they can see themselves, right? They see that, they feel that they're represented.
I Can't See You Without Me, featuring the work of Mickaleen Thomas, is on view at the Wex through December 30th. Visit wexarts.org for details. We're continuing our local music series this week with some hip-hop. You'll definitely be able to hear the jazz influences in this tune that was recorded live this summer inside our WOSU studios. Here's Columbus-based band Mr. Anderson performing their song, Para Mi, Brother B.
I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. Yeah, I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. Yeah, I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't. This man, Brother B, never remember me. He loved to play music, he loved to puff on a tree. He'd always say, I know your face, but not your name. Maybe he was always drained, slowly going insane. Yeah, but Brother B was always real. Had a minute, he would chill, and he never missed a meal. Yeah, and you could tell his skill was real. Quit his job, pursued his love, and he made it pay his bills. Yeah, he wasn't focused on the thrills, but every now and then he loved the way it made him feel. A little risk and a little wrong, and would brighten up the room every time he did the song. Like everyone, dark sides followed him. God snatched his best friend, and it really bothered him. Yeah, but he kept it bottled in, tried to do what's right, and everybody followed him. Yeah, and he would always wonder why everybody would believe, cause he was always getting high. But why was it so hard to get close to Brother B? Trust me, he wasn't mean, just afraid that you would die. I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. Yeah, I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. Yeah, I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. Yeah, I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't. Yeah, this man, Brother B, he would love to agree. And if you disagree, he would chill and just let you be. He would not argue with you, he would just make it beat. Especially if he thought it would cause someone some glee, or some joy. Beat, boy, he deployed something you should embrace so you feel salty as soy. Souls paid his dues to be the boss. He followed you even if he knew you were lost, just to show you some love, show you could rise above. Like marijuana smoke when it gets sparked in the club. If he saw you in trouble, he would give you a tug to get you out the way so you wouldn't run him up. like Brother B had all the luck with the ladies, but the ladies wasn't enough. Yeah, so he dove back into his stuff, focused on his little girl, the one he couldn't teach enough. Yeah, and he was someone you could trust, and if he grabbed a mic, you best believe that he could bust. But why was it so hard to get close to Brother B? Trust me, he wasn't mean, just afraid that you would die. I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. Yeah, I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. Yeah, I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't remember me. Yeah, I know this man, Brother B. I remember him, but he don't, but he don't, but he don't.
You can catch Mr. Anderson performing live on October 20th at Flavored Flow Studios on the South Side. Keep an eye on their Facebook page for details. Our next stop takes us to Kansas City, where an artist and beekeeper is working on an eco-project that's kind of like a cross-pollination between community art and public awareness about the importance of the honeybee.
I have what I would call a transdisciplinary practice. I move between mediums, inspirations, purposes, reasons. I don't tend to question why I want to make something. I just make it, and then I kind of figure out how it fits together with other things that I've made later. In the different way that works manifest themselves in my studio, some are just of the moment, assemblages, purely visually aesthetic or symbolic. Haven is the first project in what I think will be a lifelong work of mine, which I call the Deep Ecology Project. Haven has a functionality, the conventional aesthetics of the work, what it's made of, how it looks, those are all important. But what it comes down to is what the piece says, what the piece is communicating, and how its functionality is an important part of that. So I'm an artist and a third-generation beekeeper, and I grew up around bees, and there's been a big change in beekeeping practices that I felt I could address with this project. As a sculptor and a public artist, I fused those two interests together and created this project. So the hive's pretty heavy. It's filled with honeycomb and honey. Bees like their hive entrance to face south or southeast. So every site where Haven is installed, you'll notice that it'll be facing southeast. In order to make it as easy as possible to install, the only tool you need is one wrench, powerful magnets that are embedded in these panels. Let them snap right together. Around 100 years ago, Brancusi said, "Simplicity is complexity resolved." And the pollinator issue, the decline in the honeybees and the threats that face all the pollinators right now is extremely complex. So what I wanted to do was to create something which was as elegant and simple as possible. It has the potential to give bees what they need, and it
has the potential to act as a tool to give us what we need to understand better what's happening.
With the decimation of the population right now, it's very important for us to look at what's happening in the wild and what keys there might be to these survivor bees. If we've lost 80 to 90% of bees in the wild, these 10 to 20% that are still living, to me, are really important. Honeybees are responsible for pollinating 1/3 of the food that we eat. If the bees go, we lose that food, and that has profound ripple effects. And this is a pretty important food security issue. Part of the process of installing these hives is also in catching the wild honeybees, which I do in the spring. If it were a bigger branch, I would just pound the branch or shake it and have the bees fall into the bucket. I'm going to just try to take the whole branch that the bees are on. That's why I'm removing as much of it as possible. Then I'll just put the little piece of the branch in the bucket and take it with me. Then when I install the bees in the hive, I'll take the branch out. Oh, didn't go quite as smoothly as I hoped. That's why I put the tarp down. The queen is somewhere in this mess of bees, and we hope that she's in the bucket. If she's not and she's on the tarp, the bees will join her. If she's in the bucket, the bees will join her in there. These bees are going to be going into a Haven hive at a private residence.
Here in Kansas City, I have Haven hives in both public and private locations. We have hives at Hyde Park, the DST Garden at 18 Broadway, Kauffman Memorial Garden, the Kauffman Foundation, Johnson County Community College, Nerman Museum's collection, which will also be on the Johnson County Community College campus. At each Haven site, there is a title plaque with a QR code. The title plaque describes to park visitors what they're looking at. The QR code takes them to a website with a survey page. The website gives them more in-depth information as to what's happening to the honeybees and what this project is all about. And the survey page allows them to make their own observations and upload that information to the website to help crowdsource this data gathering. It allows visitors to engage with the project at any level they want. Can even serve as a tool for educators that want to take a class of kids out to see what's going on and learn about why pollinators are important.
These are the bees that are spreading the scent to tell all the other bees that this is the place to come. The queen is in here, come and join us. If you sit here for a while, eventually you'll just see all the bees in the air and the tarp kind of come inside and join them in the bucket.
The bees pretty much just want to ignore us, and we're not really on their radar. What they're looking for are flowers. They are not prone to attacking and chasing down people.
Couldn't talk with the bee on my lip.
It was important to make the hive in a way that would allow visitors to any urban park feel comfortable in its proximity. At this height, at 16 feet, this is a way for us to be able to integrate them into our urban and suburban environments and make them part of our ecosystem. Public realm is a great place to play with art, and this project gives me a great chance to step out of the gallery walls, to step out of the institution, to interface with my art and a general public directly. And to me, that's become a very valuable part of my practice.
Well, that is our show. You can check out all of our stories at WOSU.org, or you can download our free WOSU Public Media mobile app. Of course, you can always find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're closing the show with more music by Central Ohio's very own Mr. Anderson. For all of us here at WOSU, I'm Kate Quickle. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next week.
What's mine is yours. What's mine is yours, don't you know? What's mine is yours. So what's mine, yeah. What's mine is yours. What's mine is yours, don't you know? What's mine is yours. So what's mine? It's yours, seeping straight through your pores. Do it until they pause, undeniable force. Working it like a horse while they second guessing the source. Sentence to stupidity, staying lost in the sauce. I just want my freedom, how much does it really cost? They look at me like I ask, is it silly to swim with sharks? With no cages raised, just keep surfacing. When I'm flirting this, what's my purpose here? Am I here to teach the youth just how to surface here?
America. I am the darker brother. I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen. I too am America.
Join Columbus as we recognize, reflect, and revive the spirit of the Harlem Renaissance. Go to cbusharlem100.org for more information.
Production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
PNC, committed to Central Ohio, for the achiever in you. From these contributing sponsors and viewers like you, thank you.